Few more mindful breaths, breathing in slowly to the count of 5, breathing out to the count of 10. Observe your body with your closed eyes and feel that your body is relaxed now. The mind is calm and peaceful. And our intelligence is all eagerly waiting to learn new things today, which will make us more happy. Let's bring back both the palms together to the heart. Namaskar Mudra at this point. Gently be reminded of your personal intention, your sankalpa for this practice. Your generic one is, I'm totally healthy, I'm truly happy, and I'm bringing lots of success into everything that I do. If you have your own personal one, please repeat that 3 times in your mind with a positive and compassionate feeling in your heart. And I will raise both the hands up to the sky, keeping the palms open, eyes closed, facing to the sky. We'll chant 5 ohms to download the cosmic energy to all our Pancha koshas. So breathe in slowly. Two more times. Inhale. Last one, a little louder. Inhale. Gently bring your palms back to the heart again. Let's start with a prayer. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sah Veeryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu Ma Vidhvamai.
Om Shanti.
Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. May the universe protect us all. May the universe nourish us all. May this practice of yoga and workshop be fruitful and enlightening. May there be no discord, no disharmony among each other. May there be peace. Oh, peace, peace, peace. Namaste. Rub your palms gently. Your warm palms like 2 cups completely covering your eyes, and feel the warmth of your palms healing your eyes. And slowly, gently, when you're ready, keep your palms like an open book with a couple of blinks. Open your eyes, look at your palms. May all good things happen. Good. Thank you very much for everybody. While we're waiting for our teacher from India, okay, he's right there. Okay, good. Good. I hope you got some chance to practice the yoga practical video that we sent in the morning. And also, there was 2 videos that we put for 2 sessions that we have done so far, session 1 and session 2. We uploaded that to YouTube also finally, so that will be available in public for some time until everybody has watched it. So again, just like yesterday, we'll have a couple of theories and a couple of practices today. It's our 3rd session of the Yoga Volunteers program based on the curriculum that is laid out by Ministry of AYUSH, Government of India. So of course, there are some changes contextualizing the context in US right now. So you hope you'll enrich yourself with a lot of practices from here and there without getting confused. Okay, so if you have any confusion, we can always clear it out. So with that, Vinayji, are you ready to take on? Let's start with a little bit of neck exercise as you learned yesterday. So let's do it this way. So keeping the back straighten upright. So first take a nice breath. Breathe in. And as you breathe out, try to bring your chin to the chest. Breathing out slowly. And again, next breath in, try to come back to the central neutral point. And again, take a breath out and then try to look up as far as possible and try to feel that nice stretch in your neck. Once the exhalation is complete, slowly inhale and come back to the central neutral point. Let's repeat one more time. First inhale, exhaling, bring your chin to the chest. Inhale, come back to the center. Exhaling, look up all the way. Feel that nice stretch on the back of the neck. Inhale, come back to the center. Now, one more time. Inhale. As you exhale, try to bring your right ear touching the right shoulder and feel that nice stretch on the left side of the neck and pressure on the right side as you learned yesterday. Inhale, come back to the center. As you exhale, try to bring your left ear touching the left shoulder as far as possible. Feel the stretch in the right side of the neck and feel that pressure on the left side of your neck. Inhale, come back to the center. Let's repeat one more time. Breathe in. As you breathe out, try to bring your ear to the shoulder on the right side. Feel the stretch. Become conscious about any sensation that you may get. Inhale, come back to the center. On the next exhale, try to bring your left ear touching the left shoulder. Inhale, come back to the center. One more inhale. As you exhale, try to twist your right as much as possible. See if you can align your chin to the right shoulder. Once the exhalation is complete, slowly inhale, come back to the center. On the next exhale, try to turn or twist to the left side as much as possible. Your chin aligns to the left shoulder. Once the exhalation is complete, mindfully bring it back again to the center. Let's repeat one more time. Inhale. Exhaling to the right. Inhale, come back to the center. Exhale to your left. Have a happy smile. Inhale, come back to the center. Now putting all things together will make a circular motion. Remember the Vakrasana and Chakrasana concept? So inhale. As you exhale, bring your chin down to the chest. On the next inhale, slowly rotate to the right and back all the way. And again, exhaling, bring it back to the side and come back to the starting point. Let's repeat one more time. Inhale. Exhale one more time. Inhaling, slowly turn to the right and back. Exhaling, turn to the left and back. Now we'll do a little bit different. So first inhale, come back to the center. Exhaling, come back, bring your chin to the chest. As you inhale, slowly start bending to the left and back. As you exhale, slowly start turning to the right and front, down. One more. Inhaling, turn to the left and back. Exhaling, turn to the right and down. Inhale, come back to the central neutral point. Relax. Breathe in. Breathe out. Good. Now, keep your hands on your side. You can do it in the sitting down position itself. So as you inhale, stretch out both the hands up all the way. And then try to feel that nice stretch. As you exhale, simply bring your hands down. Good. Let's repeat one more time. Inhale. Exhale. Relax and take a notice of your feeling. Like how does your shoulders feel? How does your neck feel? Every time we stretch, we take a moment to relax and reflect how it is happening. One more exercise. So as you inhale, stretch out both hands from the side all the way up. And as you exhale, slowly bring them back again to the side. Do it at your own pace, whatever you feel comfortable. You have to feel the weight of the hands as they drop it out. Let's go one more time. Inhale, hands rising up all the way, palm facing out. Exhale, bring them back again. Good. Inhale, exhale completely out. Try to take a note. How does it feel? Let's do a little bit of shoulder. So keep your palms facing up on the side. Now bring your palms to the shoulder. And keep your elbows a little bit closer to the front. This is the starting point. Now as you exhale, slowly start bringing down, out, up, and starting point. Repeat. Exhaling down, out, up, and front. Good? Let's do the opposite. So exhaling up, out, down, front. One more time. Exhaling up, out, down, front. Nice. Bring your hands to the side. Close your eyes and try to feel. How does it feel? Does it feel more relaxed? Your shoulders? Breathe in. Breathe out. Let's do one last routine for the spine. So keep your hands parallel to the ground. So keep your feet flat. If you're sitting on a chair or if you're standing, that is also okay. Now first inhale. As you exhale, slowly start twisting to the right as much as possible. Right hand remains straight, left hand bends. Look towards the right palm. As you inhale, slowly come back to the central neutral point. Palm facing down, hands parallel to the ground. Now the next, first inhale here. And the exhale, twist to your left. Left hand remains straight, right hand bends down at the elbow. Once you complete your exhale, slowly come back as you inhale. Let's repeat one more time. Inhale first. On the exhale, twist your right. As far as your body allows naturally. Inhale slowly. Come back to the center. Exhaling, twist your left. Inhaling, come back to the center. As you exhale, drop your hands to the side. Keep the eyes closed. Try to feel, how does the body feel? Your shoulder, your neck, your spine, your wrist, palms. A whole upper body is relaxed. Breathe in and a breath out. Nice. That was a good check-in. Slowly open your eyes and let's get ready for our class. Okay, Vinayji, up, ready? Any questions? You're okay?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So I will change the view. Okay, please go ahead. Thank you.
Yes. Namaste. Namaste to all. A very happy morning. So, am I audible? And I hope my voice is clear today at this moment. Okay. So, from Swami Vivekananda Yoga Research and Holistic Trust, so I heartily welcome each and every one of you for this yoga volunteer session and a global yoga volunteer process which we are planning to make it. Yes. So, in the previous classes, we have discussed on the Vyayamas. As today, I hope Manojji has started a few basic Vyayamas which can be practically practiced by just sitting on the chairs or standing, making yourself comfortable wherever you are, right? So, in the next coming process, according to the yoga protocol, uh, we have a certain things which has to be implemented, and there are many misconceptions on those practices, right? So let us understand the misconceptions of these practices and the yogic concepts of those practices. Okay, there are many points which has been expressed in the syllabus also, where you can go through the syllabus uh, in the theoretical part it is majorly. So among those parts, the common can I request you people, what are the common things that you people face when you go for a yogic practices? So what are the things that you come across, the issues? Can can you just please unmute and just answer for this?
Can you repeat your question again? I think they didn't get it. So what are the common
issues that
Okay.
you face when you go for a yoga classes
Okay.
for the practical implementation of those things? For example, I will be feeling uh, still a doubt whether can I perform a yogasana after my meals, or can I practice a pranayama or any other yogic practices after my meals, right? This type of questions generally which strikes your mind. Yes, please. I hope I'm
Yeah,
audible.
unmute
Yes, if
yourself.
there are
Please
any
unmute and then
questions
speak
coming
up
across, like,
if you have any questions before you
I
practice
also
yoga.
feels I don't know. Sometimes I think should I drink water because if I'm doing my pranayama or how many 1 or 2 hours before. Um, I also feel when I drink water also my posture or even my pranayama I'm not doing it right. So I don't know water drinking water also is right or wrong.
yes, yes. Very good. A good question. So this type of a question which is commonly strikes to a normal person. See, drinking of water, in the sense, it depends on an each individual according to their physical body, right? And the requirement on the individual. So commonly it has been suggested that we have to intake a glass of water in an empty stomach. It has been generally suggested. That too, if it is a warm water, it will be very good for the digestional and the excretion process, which takes place easily and smoothly. So that is the main intention, to make sure that to cleanse or to make our excretion process very comfortably. So we have to at least intake a glass of water. A glass of water in the sense minimum of 200 ml, 200 to 250 ml. So empty stomach early in the morning when you wake up from the bed. So it has been generally suggested. So there are few people who may intake more than a liter also, which will make them very uncomfortable in their practices, right? So according to the process, we generally say that in a yoga, at least a minimum of 250 ml, you have to intake a warm water. There are certain people who expresses to take a normal water with a honey, a spoon of honey, right? So again, this depends on an each individual, where if the person is with the excess of heat in their body, the nature, they should avoid taking the honey. Okay. In that case, they can add a lemon. Okay. If the person is gastritis or he feels very burning sensations, so they can use this. The people say that with a excess of gas or excess of fat or something, so they say that to use garlic, right? And there are few people who may not consume the garlic. So a jeera, if the excess of heat is there, So for them, we generally say the Jeera water, right? So like this, there are each individuality depending on their body and their nature. We generally suggest these type of intakes in the early morning in an empty stomach. And as per your question, the whether I may not be able to identify, I hope you got to know how much has to be intaken generally right now. And in the same way, when you are practicing it, so we have to make sure that our bowels are clear and clean. That means we have to go for a washroom and we have to clear our excretion process and we have to come for the yogic practices. There are certain cases where you may not be able to go for the excretion process, but when you are at the time of practices, there are possibilities where you may feel like you have to go for an excretion process. Kindly take a break and go for the excretion process, clear yourself, and come back for the practices. So, this is the common thing which we have to do. We should not try to hold on or to control over those things because the expression process has to be taken place. There are certain yogic practices which we will be making you people to perform in the regular classes so that the expression and the digestional process will be better. Okay, is that clear? Yes. Okay. So, any other such questions?
Yes, Vinayji, what is a good time of day to practice yoga? Is it in the morning, early morning? Is it in the evening?
Okay, very good question. Again, so commonly, again, there is a lot of misconception, people saying and claiming that you should not practice yoga in the evening or in the afternoon. Kindly make sure that when you are using the terminology called yoga, yoga can be practiced every single second of your life. But there are few practices which should be practiced early in the morning. In the afternoon, there are certain practices which have you have to practice, like asanas, pranayamas. Yes, there are practices which can be practiced even after your full meals, right? So there are those few practices which you have to practice in the evening, right? So in Indian tradition and the culture, we have a practice of doing a Sandhya Vandanam early morning and the evenings also we do. So do you need to say that no, we should not do the pranayama at that moment? No, it can be practiced. To bring the balance in the nature of the nostrils, we do practice and we bring that common practices. So make sure that you are able to understand what to be practiced and what not to be practiced. And preferably, yogasana and the pranayama practices are generally suggested to practice vigorously early in the morning. That is one of the best time to the yogasana practices and the pranayama practices. So early morning is the preferable and the best timing. So later periods, due to a constraint of the timings, yes, we generally suggest what to practice and what not to practice in the later periods of the timings. Is that clear, Nitama? Yeah.
Vinay namaskar. This is Archana
Namaste.
here. Yeah, namaste. Uh, Actually, nowadays that chair yoga is very popular, especially for who are sitting for 8 hours continuously on the chair. So, how we should do that? Because if we are sitting for 8 hours, we sometimes need to relax or stretch our neck and body and legs even while working on the computer all the time, even for eyes. So I would like to have some ideas for that. Thank you.
Okay. Yes, of course. Am I audible and clear? Is there any break in my voice?
Yes. No, it's very good.
Okay, because I got a few breaks in the voice of yours, so I just wanted to confirm. So, generally, yes, of course, as I have already mentioned, the yoga is something which can be practiced anytime. but only certain practices to be practiced in the early morning and in the afternoon or in the evening or the late nights. Yes. So as our question is, like the people who works for a long time duration, which they need a certain relaxation techniques and few practices. Yes, of course, whenever you feel like your body is requiring certain things, you have to practice those things. Like, for example, as you have mentioned, the relaxation techniques. Yes, the relaxation techniques can be given at any point of the time, but the methodology which you are implementing is most important, that which sort of a relaxation technique you are utilizing in your time, when which situation you are in. Okay. For example, you work standing for a long time duration. That makes the person feel more heavier on their leg region. So they have to focus majorly on the leg part and they have to relax. Okay. So the people with sitting for a long term duration, that is the spine, the back. So they have to relax majorly on the spine, resting on in Shavasana, right? So these are the ways, because there might be people with high blood pressure. So generally the Makarasana, the prone posture, sleeping in facing towards the floor, so which makes them very comfortable. And the people with improper breathing patterns, because of a very closed place they will be, and they will be not moving out of the fresh air, so they have certain breathing issues, so we make them to go for a prone posture like Makarasana, and they can relax. So that is one of the way to relax. So these are the different ways of relaxation. In standing, we have a Shitila Tadasana relaxation, and sitting Dandasana relaxation. In the prone, we have a Makarasana relaxation. In the supine, we have a Shavasana relaxation. These are the basic four different ways of relaxation for a unique people who requires according to their body nature. Okay. So these are the forms of relaxation techniques which can be implemented at any point of the time. There is no specification or a specific time is required. Whenever the requirement is, yes, we can go ahead for this type of relaxation. Is that clear? Yes, Archana. And yes, of course, the
Yeah.
pranayamas, we should be more conscious with the pranayama, and we should try to be in an empty stomach, and we can practice in mid of the day also. We can practice the pranayama, but we should make sure that at least we are uh, on an empty stomach or a light stomach. Why I'm mentioning a empty stomach or a light stomach? Because the stomach cannot and can never be an empty, because at least it consists of a stomach acids in it, so that we cannot claim it as a completely empty. So we generally consider it as a light stomach. That means the digestional process will be completely clear out from the part of the stomach region. Okay. So at least for the digestional process, again, it depends on the food what you have intaken. Is it a light food or a hard food? What is the time duration which is required for the digestional process? Based on that, you can make sure that at least a minimum of 2 hours, we generally say 2 to 3 hours, a gap after your meal. Okay. Yes. Good. Any other such question?
Thank
These
you.
are the same questions where you can find even in the YCB board syllabus. So I'm really feeling so happy that the same points are coming.
Yeah, I have a
Yeah.
question here. This
Yes,
is Aniket
please.
from New Jersey. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I am always nervous about the sequence. What is the best way to sequence the yoga so that we can go on for at least 45 minutes or to 1 hour?
Okay. See, yeah. Again, this is another a common question which arises. See, yoga is not a competition or a race when we are in a group class. Yoga is for the self development and the self betterment of an individual. So we have to perform and we have to practice according to the body requirement and its own capacities and the capabilities. We should not stretch beyond the capacities or the capabilities, where we may go for an certain physical issues we may face. So kindly requesting each and every one of you. So don't see somebody is performing so good, why I'm not. So it is just to encourage you to perform in a righteous way. That is more enough. Okay. So kindly do not force yourself or do not see somebody that they are performing and why I am not. So these are the common questions. It is your body. You are so unique. There are some practices which you will be better than what they are doing, right? So that is how the nature is. So kindly make sure that the sequences what the teachers are training, it is not compulsory that you have to go for a perfection. No, at least make sure that the alignment of the body is taking place in a righteous way. That's it. Is that clear? For example, I would like to suggest, see, my neck region, as I said, we have to bend forward and we have to take our chin down towards the chest region. I'm not saying it is compulsory that you have to touch your chin to the chest, right? There are few people who may able to touch the chin to the chest and there are few people who may not be able to do that, right? And one more thing, as today you had seen that when we stretch our ears towards the shoulder, we tell them to try to touch your ears to the shoulder, but they should not lift the shoulders up. It should be stretched. There are few people who may not be able to touch the ears. It is not compulsory that you have to touch. No, you have to practice according to the comfortability to make sure that the spine or the cervical region is going down and there is a stretch that you feel and the pressure the other side. So these are the common things, whether day by day you can increase that flexibility. Okay. So, or some people body structure will be in such a way that it cannot go beyond that, right? So we have to try with something else. We should not stick on to something which is not possible at all, right? So there are few people who can interlock their fingers and they can just rotate the hands completely from back because of their creation of the joints. So if I see them and if I try to do it for myself, can you think that it is possible? No, it is not. So I should be happy with my physical level, what I am. Okay. And of course, we have to keep on training in such a level that I can reach to a certain extent. That is more enough. Okay.
Hey, let me
Very
just
good.
interject here for one thing. So just coming back to the question of like, what is the sequence? So, it's my practice, like I kind of teach also the same thing. Like if you think about the Pancha Kosha, right? We talked about we have a physical body, which called Annamaya Kosha. We have a vital body, which called Pranamaya Kosha. We have a mind body, which called Manomaya Kosha. We have intelligence, which called Vijnanamaya Kosha. And there is a blissful body called Anandamaya Kosha. And all so far we have learned is how do we creatively combine everything together or align all these 5 parts of our being together in every sequence. So either you can do it sequentially, like 10 minutes of each practices, or in every sequence itself, you can have all the 5 elements together. So for example, let's practice this one. So keep your hands in the front, palms together. As you just stretch out as much as possible, stretch back, right? And then bring it back again. Good, let's do one more time. So stretch as much as possible. Come back. Bring your hands down. So what we did, we just stretched, right? So basically what happened? The blood circulation happened, cells opened up, muscles opened up, skin stretched, bones little bit stretched, ligaments stretched. So it was just a stretching. And which part of the Panchakosha got affected here? Mostly the Annamaya, the physical body. Now let's add the second aspect of it, with the breath will stretch. So same technique, keep your palms together. So now as you breathe in, we stretch. As you breathe out, you bring back. So add the breath element to it, the vital body. So inhaling, exhale, let's repeat one more time. Inhale, exhale, bring your hands down and try to feel like we added the breath element in it. Like, we impacted our pranic body, isn't it? Like our pranamaya kosha got affected by this technique. Now let's add the mind element. Like think about like whether you're happy or unhappy. How do you know that? Not by touching and not by, we were feeling, like asking, like, there is a feeling component, there is a mind component. So we'll add the stretching, breathing, and then happy feeling, right? So think about some happy memories of your life. Maybe something happened today. So as you breathe in, you feel happy, stretch out. And as you breathe out, feel like all the stress or worries or something negative going out from your body and mind. Right? Let's be creative. One more time. Inhaling, feel happy. I'm the happiest person in the world. Exhaling, all my stress going out, 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 out. Okay, bring it back again. So we added the stretching part for the physical body. We added the breathing part for our physical, pranic body, vital body. We added the feeling part to our mind body, right? So likewise, you can think about a little bit more intelligence, some new concept you can add, more bliss kind of thing. So you can add, your goal can be attached. So this is the sequence that we can follow creatively in every posture, like you're doing Virabhadrasana or you're doing Vajrasana or Ustrasana, whatever posture you do the physical part, breathing part, mind part, feeling part, and again come back in the opposite way so that you can put all the things together in a nice sequence. This is one aspect. Second aspect, as Vinayji was talking about, like you have to just listen to your body and then do not overstretch. Always safety is the first rule that you follow in the yoga, right? So do as much as you like and then align the bliss factor of it, the anandamaya kosha. Feel happy about it, right? Every day we are getting older. Our body is getting more stiff, flexible, is reduced, right? So you should be happy that today I can do this much. So have that bliss, that santosh bhav. You remember yesterday we talked about santosha, right? And then Patanjali also talks about sthiram sukham asanam. That means every posture, if you can align your stability, the physical component, and the bliss, ananda component, align. Like if I cannot touch my toes, that's fine. I'm happy that it can goes up to the ankles or goes up to the calf muscles. That's fine. As long as you're happy, the body will get more inspired. Just like we teach some children, like something harder. So slowly, we get there. That's the third component I wanted to talk about in Sanskrit. Abhyasena yogas chittam. Only by practicing, you keep joints, opening joints 3 times, 4 times, keep flexible exercises 4 times, 5 times throughout the day. And over a period of 3-4 months of time, your body will be very flexible. Then now you can touch the ground. You can be more happy, right? So that now, sthiram sukhamasanam, always align your bliss and stability. Abhyasena yogas chittam, always keep practicing. Yoga is a practical experiential science, right? And then align the Panchakosha element in it. Anyway, so that was a different way to explain the sequence part of it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Generally, when in India over here, when we talk about the sequence, the most people are following certain practices like a Vinyasa flow or the Ashtanga flow or the Hatha Yoga flow. So this is what the people are sequencements. There are many sequences that they follow, but they feel confused, which is Hatha Yoga, which is like Ashtanga flow and the Vinyasa flow. So they get a lot of confusions and they get into a wrong practices. So this is also one issue. On that basis, I have expressed certain things. So I feel really good about the process. Yes, sequences. There are many ways and the many sequences in a different forms. Okay. Yeah. Thank you so much, Manojji. And yes, please. Any other such questions right now, or else I have few more points to express.
You said that certain things you can do in evening, certain things you should do in morning, certain things you can do always. So is it something that we'll get to know during this course? Is there a document or something which is there to
Yes,
follow?
we will be suggesting certain practices which can be performed and which can be practiced even in the early morning and in the day times, like in the afternoon or in the evenings also. Yes, of course, you will be going through these practices practically implemented, and that will be expressed in such a way that you can just follow those things in your day-to-day life also. Yes.
While we're waiting for those curriculum part of it, like Vinayji will talk about that. But Dilipji, what I wanted to share this, like the concept of yoga is all aligned to the sun, moon, and earth. Like if you look at, it's all about energy. Like sun gives the energy to our body. So if you think about, there are transitional moments. The sunrise is a transitional moment. Noon is a transitional moment. Evening, sunset is a transitional moment. Midnight is a transitional moment where the position of the earth, sun, and moon changes. During those time, if you look at scientifically, there are more ultraviolet rays, there are more negative elements. Even occult science also talks about that. So during those moments, we are susceptible to acquire more negativity in our body and more disease can happen. So that is why the concept of Trikala Sandhya Vandana was institutionalized in the Indian system. So during those times, if you do some spiritual practice like yoga, meditation, pranayama, all kind of things, you are kind of healing yourself, or you are kind of shielding yourself, like not to get those, acquire those negative vibrations either in an occult way or just like ultraviolet rays or something happening. That's why it was institutionalized during those transitional time. If you practice something, pranayama techniques or breathing techniques or yoga techniques or something mindfulness, you'll be more protected from getting ill. So that's the general guidelines. But in general, like there is so much of permutation combinations we can think about asanas. I always practice yoga as a lifestyle. Like, everything that your body is in a particular posture, even if you're cooking. So say, for example, if you become creative, you exhale and then reach out to haldi, right? Turmeric, inhale, come back. Or you can see like the potato is getting boiled, just stand on one leg for 2 minutes, 1 minute. You can always be creative in doing some aspect of yoga. That is how you'll get inspired every moment and bring delight, bliss all the moment. That is how yoga is just not the asanas, but as we talked about the Ashtanga, yama, niyama, asan, pranayam, pratyahar, dharana, dhyan, samadhi. Which one you're excluding? Any moment. Your practice is some part of yama, some part of niyama, some part of practice. So if you look at the totality, the complete understanding of yoga, yoga can not be practiced only 1 hour. All the time we have to need to conceptually practice yoga. But anyway, so the theoretical aspect of the Ashtanga Yoga, the Hatha Yoga, the physical yoga, that's why we have to follow the curriculum that Government of India is trying to build a common protocol.
Yes.
So that is what the scope of this particular program.
Yes.
But sometimes we just go here and there to acquire the broader aspect of yoga also. Anyway, thank you.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you so much, Manoj. I hope everybody is getting into that lane of understanding the righteous concepts of the yogic practices, right? So there are a few more points in the same way. Is there anyone last so that we can take up a question, and then I'll be giving some more points which I'll be expressing. Okay. Yes. So if not, I'll be starting up with those points generally. Most important thing is that when we see yoga classes, when we want to go for a yoga classes, the first it strikes with the mind what type of dress I have to wear. So generally, it has been suggested it should be a cotton material dresses commonly, and it should be very light and free and comfortable to stretch. Okay. So such type of cotton material dresses has been suggested rather than any other materials. So then yoga mats generally. So do you think is it really necessary that yoga has to be practiced only on the mats, or can that be practiced on the floor also, or somewhere which is uh, comfortable positions or the mats or something, and what type of a mat I have to use. So there will be a lot of questions in the mind running. So when we talk about the mats, yes, it is again generally suggested a cotton material mats to make the best practices, or the leathers can be utilized, but leathers nowadays we shouldn't use. And when we are into concepts like, there are many people who follow the vegan nowadays, not to hurt the animals or not to use the products of the animals. So that's the reason it has been avoided, and it has been generally suggested to make sure that it has been used with the cotton material mats. But nowadays, to make sure the comfortable zone, we are utilizing most of the rubber mats, right? So personally, I generally don't suggest the rubber mats, because every human has an excretion process which takes place through the sweat, right? We may feel I'm not sweating, but there are minute pores which we will be sweating every single minute of the time in our day-to-day life. So if you take a cotton mat one side and the rubber mats which we generally use, so if you just pour a glass of water, of course the cotton mat will absorb the water very fast, and the rubber mat will absorb the water very slow, and it takes a lot of time. And then if you wash the cotton mat, it can be dried very easily. The rubber mats is not so convenient to get dried so easily, right? So it takes a lot of time. So in that case, if we wash also, that may lose its quality, right? The rubber mats, and it may spoil the rubber mats. So generally, we suggest to make sure the floor comfortability, we use the rubber mats on the base and the cotton mat above to that, so that it will be better in this modernized practices. That's it. And what is the reason that it has to be utilized, the mats? Why not without a mat? So generally, we say this physical body is like a bhutattva, the earth element, which is form of an earth element, where the connections of the source of energy will be the same. So we have to bring the balance, and to manage that source of energy and the connectivity, we utilize the mat as a mode of generating certain source of energy in the body with the help of asanas, pranayamas, and all, and to bring the balance in this body or this element called as earth element. This is the body considering as an earth element. So we'll be discussing on those elements and all in the next coming classes. Kindly don't raise the questions on those things, because as of course I can understand how can it be. So all those question arises. Right at this point of a time, we were talking on the concepts of the yogic practices in our day-to-day life and its misconceptions. Okay, yeah. So these are the common things, and generally often the people ask, should I need to take a bath and practice the yogasana and the pranayama, all these things, or after practicing should I need to take a bath? Generally, it has been suggested it depends on your body nature again. So if you feel that you are very uncomfortable with your body, that means kindly take a bath, and you can, after a half an hour or something, you can just go ahead for the yogic practices. And some people say that I do a yoga practices, yogasana practices, and I sweat a lot. So after practices, I feel like taking a bath. Yes, of course, after practicing, you have to take a bath to cleanse an external or an part of your body, at the outer layer of your body, the physical body, so that you can take a bath. But it has been suggested that at least minimum of 20 minutes to 30 minutes, you have to have a break between your yogic practice and taking a bath. Why is that so? Because the body temperature, when you practice a certain asanas, all these things, the body temperature increases more. So until and unless the body temperature and the environment's temperature is balanced, we should not take a bath. So it has to match. There are few people where we have seen they sweat a lot, so they feel like in the summertime, they feel like taking a cold water bath. So when the temperature is very high in the body, and if you go directly to take a cold water bath, that will affect on the cells and the temperature in the body, and that may affect even the circulational process in the body, and it may trigger to the cardiac, the heart. So that's the reason where it has been generally suggested the person has to relax. At least that's the reason in most of the classes you can see the last end will be a relaxation technique and the classes will be ended, right? So that is the common reason that we generally give a relaxation technique, at least minimum of 5 minutes to take and roll the mats, and moving out of the class may take you another 5 minutes. Reaching back to your home or to the places, again, it may take another 10, 15 minutes. So it will be easier when you will reach your home by the time you can take up the bath. But in some of the institutions or yoga centers, they have a made of facilities to take a bath in that same places. Especially, I was working in the Vietnam, so it's an Asian country, Vietnam. So when I used to work over there, this was the common thing which we have seen. Practically, I have seen most of our students, they used to practice, they used to sweat a lot. They focus only on their physical level of practices. So once the class is done, they just run out and they go for um, taking a bath. So there was one lady who had faced such cardio, like especially a minor heart attack it was. So it was not major. So later on, she was fit and fine. So this was the issue because one of the teacher over there, he was training Hatha Yoga flow. So, and with that Hatha Yoga flow, and again, he made a half an hour Hatha Yoga flow, and he has combined a unique flow with that, where they feel like more sweating. So that's the reason where they went ahead with certain issues. So we should be more conscious what we are practicing and how the body temperature is, and then when we have to take a bath. That's it. So this is one reason where most of the people do mistakes or unknowingly they go ahead. So I request you people to make sure that you are aware of these things and you are guiding in your future as being a yoga volunteer, guiding for others also regarding this. Okay. Yeah. So thank you. So any other points or questions like this, if you have in your mind, kindly just let me know, or else we'll be moving to the next topic.
Quick question. So even the
Yes, please.
eating also we should have after what, 20, 30 minutes?
Yes, of course. Okay, good question. So there are a few yoga practitioners who keeps on intaking a water in between the classes also. It is strictly suggested that not to intake a water in between the classes. Before starting the class, you have to intake, or after ending the class, you have to intake, because you will be working on your physical and physiological aspects of the yogic practices and the asana practices. So on the pranayama practices, of course, there are certain situations, especially when you practice a Kapalabhati or a Bhastrika, you feel very dryness in your throat region and you feel like intaking a water in between. So that at that point of the time, make sure that these are the practices which generates the heat in your body. That's the reason there is a practices called as the cooling pranayama, where which you will be learning in this same syllabus, which generates a saliva like water, where you can intake step by step and to get uh, that dryness out and clear with your dryness of the throat region. There are few issues where you may feel that you may not be able to produce that saliva. That's the reason there are certain pranayama practices which helps you to generate that in a good amount, and you can get rid of that dryness. Okay. And as of course, after the yogic practices, if we suddenly take a process of water or food, that will be not so convenient. It has to relax the body physically and physiologically. It has to relax completely, and it has to get adjusted with the environment that we are into. And then we have to go ahead with intaking of a food. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
I have a question.
Anything? I
So
hope.
I heard that we should be drinking a lot of water the days we are doing yoga. Is that true?
Yes, of course, we do suggest to drink a lot of water. A lot of water in the sense, how much? So generally and commonly, it has been expressed for a human. At least they should intake a minimum of 3 to 4 liters a day. 3 to 4 liters of water a day. But it depends on the environment that you are into. Again, right? So there might, especially in India, if you see the southern part, especially in the Tamil Nadu and the Kerala region, you feel very hot, very much hot. So, and the eastern side and the western sides of India, especially in Rajasthan, you don't find water over there. You feel very dry because that is the environment where the people have been adjusted with. So according to your body nature and the environment surrounding you, make sure that you are intaking in a convenient way of water which is required for your body. Okay. uh Hope I think I'm clear with these points and the misconceptions which generally arises, and what is the pre-preparations and the post-preparations that has to be done for the yogic practices, right? So I request, well, on the dress code where we were talking, the people use most of them I have seen. I don't know. I shouldn't say that yes over there. Yes, these are the people who are doing it because of the unawareness. Most of the people use their very tight and stiff dresses. So kindly avoid those very tight dresses for the yogic practices. And especially there are few people who practice the yoga asana with the shoes also. So we generally suggest it has to be practiced in a barefoot. So that is a common thing. Most of the gym and all, when they go, they use their shoes, yes, of course. But for the yogic practices, it has been generally suggested to make sure that they are in a barefoot for the yogasana practices.
Not
Okay.
even socks?
Yeah.
No.
Socks, yes, of course, it depends again on your body nature. It should be a cotton material socks because it has to absorb the sweat, because that is the major portion where you will be sweating. The sole or the foot is the major portion where you will be sweating. And according to the acupressure, it has been suggested that the palm and the sole of your leg, the foot, is the place where the whole body is representing. So there are certain acupressural points in the leg or region. So it should not be pressurized in a wrong manner. And of course, the lifestyle depends. Because of certain people wearing certain slippers, they say that they have certain issues. We can easily make out that is what type of slippers they are wearing, high heeled. Yes, of course, they will be facing certain physical level of issues. So if it is a low and the flat slippers also, they might be facing certain issues. So depending on the body nature, they have to make sure that they are utilizing the best way of footwears. Okay, so nowadays even the footwear industry has made certain designers footwears depending on a person's nature, right? So you can see that. Yeah. Okay. Good questions. Yes. Anything else? Okay. So if not, we'll be moving ahead on the concepts of understanding this body. You have got it. And what is the pre-preparations that you have to go ahead and the post-preparations, which we'll be discussing. A few points we have discussed. And moving to the next topic from the syllabus, that is from the as a yoga volunteer, you need to understand the kriyas, the cleansing techniques, which has been expressed. There are shat kriyas, which has been expressed in a hatha yoga. The concepts. Shat kriyas means shat means there are six kriyas means there are different terminology which expresses in a different way. Kriya means an action generally. A kriya means a cleansing process also. It can be. So in that consideration, there are six kriyas which I'll be naming it. I hope most of you will be aware of these things. So the Kapalabhati is one of the kriya. It is not a pranayama. According to the scriptures and the philosophy, what it expresses is Kapalabhati is a kriya. It is not a pranayama. Okay. Then moving to the next, after Kapalabhati, we have a Trataka. You can find these points even in your syllabus also. If kindly make a note so that it stores for a long-term duration. Okay. Yeah. So the second one is the Trataka, Neti, Neti, Dauti, Dauti, Basti, Basti, Nauli, Nauli. Okay. So these are the six kriyas which is there. Among the six kriyas, in your syllabus, it has been expressed to make sure that at least a few basic practices and the knowledge over this thing you should have. The Kapalabhati, you should have the knowledge and the practical implementation. Then Neti, you should have only the theoretical knowledge at this point of a time. And Trataka, so the theoretical knowledge of this practice. And of course, you can do there are a few basic practices like Drishtir Trataka, which we can train you over here also through online. But it has been generally suggested not to do in this forceful or radiations or the lights. Okay, so we should avoid that and we have to practice. So, but meanwhile, we will be letting you know the importance of these concepts. So coming to this concept, the Shat Kriyas, especially the Kapalabhati, Neti, and the Trataka. These are the three topics which we have to cover in the yoga volunteer syllabus. So coming to the Kapalabhati. So the verbal meaning Kapalabhati means, Kapala means the skull or the frontal portion of the skull region or the head region is called as Kapala. Bhati means a shining or the brightness, to bring the brightness or the shine or the cleansing process. There are many people express in different ways. So we should not get confused. So Kapalabhati is a process which helps to cleanse the forehead region or this portion, head region. So most of us think that the Kapalabhati this is a major ultimate terminology. But most of us commonly think it is only for the abdominal region, or it might be only for the chest region. No, it is for your all-round development. Kapalabhati is one of the most beautiful practices uh, which has to be practiced to cleanse our whole body and the pranic energies. So it helps in the cleansing of the pranic energies, where you will be learning certain pranas also, which you will be getting to know. I'll just let you know the practices, how it has been practiced, and how it has to be implemented, and what has to be majorly focused on, and what is the misconception of its practices today. Uh, am I audible, or is there is any struck in my voice or a video? No? Okay. Because I could see some getting struck with other videos. So, okay. So the first thing is that, as I mentioned, the meaning of a Kapalabhati. Now, the way of practicing it. So the way of practicing the Kapalabhati is there is an active exhalation and a passive inhalation. There is a active exhalation and a passive inhalation process. So how this active inhalation, exhalation and passive inhalation should be, how it has to be practically implemented. So always it has been suggested this kriya has to be practiced by just sitting, keeping the spine straight, always. And when you're keeping your spine straight and erect, make sure that you are exhaling from the lower portion of the nabi. From the lower portion, you are feeling that process of air is coming out from the below the nabi, completely out with the nostrils. And a passive inhalation, where there is an automatic inhalation which takes place. That means there will be a sound of exhalation, but there will be no sound or effort on the inhalation. There will be major effort on exhalation through the nostrils, and the passive inhalation, which there will be no effort but automatic inhalation which takes place through the nostril. So when you see, I'll just demonstrate it. So before going for Kapalabhati, make sure that nostrils are clean and clear. If not, you can take the help of a handkerchiefs or the hankies and just clean the nostrils, and then try to practice, because you yourself may not feel that awkwardness when the mucus or the things which comes out, the mala. Okay. So after that, so you have to just hold your teeth gently with the smiling face. Do not put your neck completely down nor up. Keep it straight and erect. Uh, I don't know, due to the audio concepts or something, I'm not so sure that you will be able to listen to the sound of exhalation process, right? But make sure that when you're practicing this, there was a active exhalation and just a passive inhalation process. So it is most of the people, what they do is, when we say active exhalation and a passive inhalation, they feel that the Kapalabhati means, so we have to keep on only exhaling. So they just, what they do is inhale and then they inhale. This is the mistakes which commonly most of the people will do without an awareness, right? So we should make sure that it has to be avoided. And they feel active exhalation means only, is it only with the nostrils? They force on their facial muscles and the facial region, and they force on the nostrils. No, we should make sure that facial region is not pressurized. It has been gently placed. And most of the people, as we say, we should make a sound of exhalation. They feel that, oh, we should make certain sound from the throat region, and they start making a sound from the throat region. No, even this is wrong. And they feel, yes, because of the lungs. Lungs is the only organ which do the inhalation and the exhalation process. So what they do is that they feel very uh, common thing that they have to exhale from the lungs, the expansion and the compression of the lungs. So what they do, they keep on giving this bodily movement on the spine, which will be effective. So make sure that you are not giving the bodily movement. Okay, always keeping the spine straight in it. And most of them feel that we, as they say, exhale from the stomach. So stomach is something where it is in between, below the ribs, and below that you have an intestine and the navel region and the uterus, right? So from there you have to place your hands. Most of the people, they suggest to place the hands in such a way that you should feel the experience of exhalation process. Just a moment. Yes, I hope I'm visible.
Yes, it looks like Kapalabhati should be done empty stomach, right? It has to be.
Yes, of course, it has to be done in an empty stomach. I'm not making practically to do it right now. I'm just demonstrating to you people. This is the early morning for us, and I'm in an empty stomach. Okay, so this is the thing. So I request kindly not to practice at this moment. Just see to it, and what are the uh, misconceptions and the mispractices which the people are doing. We should suggest and guide them. As a yoga volunteers, you should have this knowledge, and you should be ready to guide them or volunteer in a group event, like for example an international day of yoga. So somewhere you should have the knowledge, where if you need to guide, or if you need to instruct, or if you need to help the people, right? So most of us, they say that we have to hold the hands near the nabhi, and we have to exhale by observing the movement of the stomach. When you exhale, the stomach goes in, and it comes out. In every active exhalation, the stomach goes in, and the passive inhalation, it comes out. Right? So this is the abdominal movement which takes place generally in the Kapalabhati, but it should not be pressurized with the hands forcefully. Like most of the people, they do. No, we should not pressurize on the abdominal without hands also. It is just to observe whether the movement is taking place or not. We make the people to place the hands. It is not to pressurize it, but it has to happen by its own nature. So this is the way which has to naturally takes place. We should not forcefully pressurize the abdominal region. Okay, is that clear? I hope
Yes.
it is audible and my video is clear.
Yes.
So this is the practices which has to be practiced in early morning in an empty stomach. Kindly make sure that your bowels are clear and you're practicing it later. Okay.
So you can't do
And
it in the evening. You
sorry.
should not do it in the evening if you are on empty stomach.
Yes, of course. If you are in an empty stomach, you are capable and you can practice it.
Okay.
You are
Okay.
okay to practice.
Is there
Okay.
any
But okay, I'll just clear these explanations. I know there will be a lot of questions which arises with this. So I request to hold on with the questions. Once the explanations are complete, if further still you have the questions, I think I can take up those questions also in between. Okay. And this is not the end of this Kapalabhati class. I think you will be having further practices also, which we will be suggesting you to practice. And We will be guiding and we will be helping you out to perform these practices in a righteous way. So nothing to worry about right now. So only for the orientation and the knowledge orientation on this concepts of a Kapalabhati we are training here. Okay. So practical orientation says, of course, we will help you to do it in a righteous way. Yeah. Coming back to this practices, so it has been generally suggested to make sure the palms are very free and comfortable, or you can adopt a mudra called a chin mudra also in this practice. And there are people who suggest with the different mudras. Kindly, nothing to worry about the mudras or something. Without a mudras also, you can just practice. And the sitting posture, it has been suggested to make sure that you are sitting in any one of the meditative postures like Sukhasana, Siddhasana, Vajrasana, Padmasana, or the Padmasana, like this, any of the meditative postures, and you can practice. And you may ask, is it possible to practice by sitting on the chairs? Yes, of course, it is possible, but the effects will be not so complete. It doesn't make a complete. Only when you sit in any one of these meditative posture, it makes you more comfortable and more perfect in the flow of pranic energy. As we say, there is a pancha pranas: apana, samana, prana, udana, and vyana. These are the pancha pranas which is present in your body. It is the life source or the vital energy. Okay. So apana vayu is present in your excretion process or the reproductive organs. Okay. And the samana vayu is present near the stomach and the intestine. And the prana vayu is present near the chest region. The udana vayu is present in your towards your head region, and the vyana vayu is in your whole body, that is in the circulatory system. So this is the pancha pranas, which I'll be taking up a unique explanation on this in the next coming classes. But why I'm saying this pancha pranas over here, because when you're working with the Kapalabhati, so this is the major part which you should be more conscious on in the flow of the practice. So the head region, as I said, udana, the prana, samana, and the apana, and your whole body with the circulation, that is the vyana. So when you are doing a exhalation, as I said, from below the nabhi, you are trying to focus that force of exhalation or the air coming out from the nabhi or below the nabhi, and you are exhaling it. You have to experience that. And from the stomach region, and the expansion of inhalation and the exhalation which takes place in your chest region, and the clear throat region, the head region. You can feel when you keep on practicing, you are pumping the blood rushing towards your head region. So while doing this, you are pumping it upwards. So there are 4 major basic things where you may not find in this syllabus. This is an additional points which we are referring to you. So the first thing is that the blood rushes to the head region. Then you will feel that there is a stop after the process of practicing. You will feel there is a hold, a common hold in the breath. And you feel that you are intaking the air for the first time. Okay. So you feel that you are inhaling for the first time. So that is the third point. And the process of inhalation will generally take place. After that, the blood slowly rushes downward and the flow you can feel. Or you feel like putting your heads down usually after the practice of Kapalabhati, right? Yeah. So this is one way of understanding the exhalation which takes place: apana, samana, prana, udana, and the vyana. Due to an active exhalation and a passive inhalation, the heart pumps a lot. So because of pumping, the blood circulation takes place throughout your body. So one Kapalabhati will help to cleanse the pranic energy in your body. So that is an reason. So what are the limitations? what are the limitations which we should be aware? As I said, so it should be practiced only in an empty stomach, and people with a high blood pressure should avoid practicing it. I'm suggesting avoid practicing it. I'm not saying that you should not practice at all. No, there are certain limitations or the strokes which you practice. Active exhalation and a passive inhalation. How long it has to be practiced? The question arises. So how many rounds I have to practice? The question arises. So it is commonly suggested in a minute we inhale and exhale. How many rounds? What is the breath that you inhale and exhale per minute? Any idea? Commonly, which has been used? Can anyone?
20.
Okay. So it has been suggested that 15 to 18 rounds or minimum 20 it will be commonly, depending on a person. So it has been suggested below 20 it should be in a minute that you inhale and exhale. If you slow down and if you have a long deep breath, that means you can reduce the number of the time also, right? So in such a way, over here in the Kapalabhati, we generally suggest a second. 1 second is one exhalation, and the other second will be on the focus of the process that inhales automatically. Like so, this is the slow manner which we generally suggest. So this can be practiced just for a minute. That means a 30 rounds, right? So 30 exhalation process will take place. Now, if you increase a second, 1 second, one active exhalation and the passive inhalation which takes place. So if you practice in this way, every single second you are exhaling and the passive inhalation is taken place. And this is the mid-range of a practice. If you are a vigorous or advanced practice, so in a second we try to go for a two round. Like so there is a fast. So in a minute we can practice for 30 rounds, 60 rounds, or 120 rounds also. It depends on each individual according to their body nature and their breathing capacity and the perfections of those practices. Okay, so these are the common basic things which we should be consciously focused. Yes, of course, there are people who practices for a longer time duration. This is for a common people and a common yoga practitioners or a beginners, which we should make sure that they are doing in a right way. Okay, so to guide them, this is the practice which we should generally suggest. Not beyond these things. Kindly make sure that they are practicing in a 3 different ways. That is the slow, medium, and the fast. It can be practiced if you are following the slow 1 round, then the medium 1 round, and the fast 1 round. So totally 3 rounds we will be practicing. That means minimum of 3 minutes. In that between, we will be taking a break to be more conscious within ourselves. What are the things which is taking place and what are the changes that is happening? So with that, minimum of 4 to 5 minutes, we will be practicing this Kapalabhati in our regular practices. That I think that is more convenient and more enough for an individual. Again, it is not compulsory that you have to practice for 5 minutes. No, you can just practice for 1 round and just be within yourself. And there are few people who can practice more than 5 minutes also, who are a good yogic practitioners. Yes, again, that depends on each individual. According to their capacity and capabilities, they can perform. But as I said, limitation, it should be practiced only in an empty stomach. And you may ask whether can I drink water and then can I practice? No, it has been suggested not to do that. Okay, and then the breathing technique can be practiced even in the night or in the evenings. Yes, you can practice, but do not practice vigorously because of the oxygen level will be very low in the night or the evenings. So kindly make sure that you are trying to practice this early in the morning when you are getting a good fresh air. In that sort of an environment, if you practice this, this will be the one of the best kriya to cleanse your body and the pranic energy in your body. Okay, okay. I'm going to stop here. If there is any questions or doubts, kindly just let me know so that we will be having a further discussions and the practices in the coming classes and the sessions also. So nothing to worry about this.
Vinayji, one thing I just want to add is excellent explanation of Kapalabhati. Whenever we're doing any kind of pranayama, I recommend that you have a fresh air coming so that there's an airflow. So keep the windows open or doors open.
Yes.
Don't do it in a congested environment. Make sure you get fresh air. That's very, very important.
Yes.
It can be practiced near seashore would be a wonderful place. You get the sea breeze, you get the ocean waves. That's a wonderful place. Of course, we all not privileged to have seashore in front of our homes, but at least near the tree, or you have fresh air coming from trees. So it's very important you get a lot of fresh air. So that's my, which was excellent, but I'm adding to it how you should practice pranayama. Always get maximum oxygen from the environment you're living in.
Thank you, Shyamji. Very good.
That's a very good suggestion, Shyamji. Yeah, very good suggestion. Yeah, thanks for sharing here. So
good. I think it was a very wonderful explanation, very detailed explanation of Kapalbhati Pranayam. We'll be practicing more tomorrow. Kapalbhati, as people say, it's a skull breathing, like it's beautiful practice, like particularly when you have jet lag and things like that. If you practice Kapalbhati, it will really refresh your mind. One additional thing that I would say, like, if you might think, like, as you saw the demonstration, like, it was mostly engaging the abdominal region. Like, you might ask, like, how does it really impact the brain? Why is it called skull breathing? How does the kapala, the forehead, becomes more illuminated, like bhati, light, right? So there is a study that it says that if you look at your abdominal region, it's called the second brain, because in your large intestine, exactly the same size of your brain exists there. It's called guts, right? Gut brain. So there are neurons also there. So apparently, when you practice this, the diaphragm gets vigorously exercised. That is one thing very important, because as you grow older, in the old age, because of if you're not leading a exercising life, like, or not yoga exercise, you are doing it properly, the diaphragm never get exercised. So towards the end of our practice, our time, the diaphragm becomes weaker. So that's where a lot of this respiratory disease comes in. So if you practice Kapalbhati at least 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes every day regularly, right, the diaphragm gets stronger. So that gives the strength and health to the lungs, right? So first thing, like, because your guts, the second brain get exercised with this one, that directly impacts your first brain also. So that is one of the reasons why Kapalbhati is also a very powerful cleansing technique, one of the Shat Karma. So if you practice Kapalbhati, you will definitely see some improvement on your memories, in your focus, in your creative thinking. So particularly for the knowledge workers like we all, Kapalbhati is a must. We must to practice Kapalbhati early morning after you do your morning chores. Just do 5 minutes or 4 minutes of Kapalbhati. Do a little bit of relaxation, a little bit of intention setting for the whole day. You'll see, like, if you do it for 30, 40 days, wonderful feeling would happen. That's from practical experience I'm saying. So let's imbibe all these practices into our daily routines as we are learning throughout this 1 month, so that we can be a true volunteer in real spirit, that we can take care of our own self, our mind, our body, our spirit, and also help others in our family, in our community, right? So with that, let's bring back both the palms together in the honor of time. Let's conclude this practice with a peace prayer. Closing eyes, let's try to connect all our teachers, all our wonderful parents and ancestors and all the rishis who have tried yoga for us. They knew that in this modern time, we'll be requiring these kind of tools and gadgets for the sanity of our mind, for the peace of our mind. So as we are practicing this, let's visualize that the whole world is a family, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. Everybody is benefiting from our little practice that we are doing it here. The knowledge is getting transmitted, and everyone is leading a life filled with health, happiness, and peace. Sarvesham swastir bhavatu. Sarvesham, yes. Sarvesham shantir bhavatu.
Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu.
Sarvesham purnam bhavatu.
Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu.
Sarvesham mangalam bhavatu.
Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu.
Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
The meaning of this prayer: may everyone become healthy, may everyone become peaceful, may everyone become complete, and everyone become auspicious for one another. Om peace, peace. With that, namaste. Put your palms. And thank you very much. Slowly, gently open your eyes.